everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News, the show that just keeps on going. Before we begin today, I just want to give a shout out to friend of the show, Danny O'Dwyer, and the good folks over at NoClip for their new documentary about Black Mesa, the Half-Life remake project. It's very cool. It's a great documentary. All of the ones they do over at NoClip are. The link is up here. Go and send them my love. Today in the news, let's start with fan favorite, Reggie fils-aime. As you probably know, Reggie left Nintendo in the hands of Bowser and moved on from the company to find his way over to Gamestop in 2020. At the time, a lot of people were confused, like, why did you do this? As Gamestop for some time hasn't really been considered the most lucrative business, even with its COVID lockdown stock surge. But then, in 2021, he decided to leave there too. And over on Game Rant, we finally have some more information on why. Apparently, the company leaders over at GameStop were making a lot of decisions close to the vest and not really telling him anything. He had no clue what the strategy of the company was. And on a personal note, I'm not sure anyone running that company has any idea what the strategy is either. And the article went on to quote Reggie saying, "The company certainly needed to pivot in a number of ways. It needed to embrace e-commerce, to find a way to better satisfy its consumer base. After a few bruising fights with shareholders, Reggie believed the company needed to articulate its strategy for the future in order to better satisfy its constituents. However, the company tactic was to lay out broad plans, such as the pursuit of an NFT marketplace. Oh, goddamn, why is it always NFTs? Every single time. So Reggie left. GameStop reported huge losses because, of course it did. And now they're hemorrhaging talent in favor of those who want to chase NFTs. So there you go. In other moronic news, Babylon's Fall, a game we talked about a week or so ago, is reaching out to players in order to determine how best to move forward with the game. As we reported, the live service game had a pretty awful launch, and now Platinum and Square Enix, seeing it as one of their worst reviewed titles, is asking players how they can improve. But strangely, it's not about the key problems like monetization, but instead about the graphics. According to Eurogamer, the survey, after a few initial warm-up questions, begins canvassing opinions on pretty much every aspect of the visual design, characters, equipment, NPCs, enemies, locations, battle effects, UI, and the overall brushwork art style. Which admittedly, when we talked about this game before, was one of the things we brought up. It looks kind of muddy and last generation, but that's not really what's turning players off from the game. Perhaps this is the first wave of questionnaires, and there will be others over time asking about different subjects with the game, but no one is really worried about the graphics. People play games with bad graphics all the time if the game is good. If it isn't trying to nickel and dime you with all this monetization stuff, the graphics are icing, right? We want a cake, a delicious, moist cake. I don't know why I'm talking about cake. I'm more of a pie guy. Anyway, we will see how that develops. Lastly, in a story that I'm not honestly sure how it connects to E3, but I feel it does, and it definitely is a sign of the decline of the big summer video games convention experience. EA Play 2022 is not happening. According to IGN, it is canceled for 2022, and instead, they're going to be doing special micro events for games as info becomes available. According to an EA rep in touch with IGN, "We love EA Play Live as it's our way of connecting with our players and sharing what's new with all of you. However, this year things aren't lining up to show you everything on one date. We have exciting things happening at our world-class studios, and this year we'll reveal much more about these projects when the time is right for each of them. We look forward to spending time with you throughout the year." And here's the thing, I'm totally all right with this, because, and I say this with love, EA press conferences sucked. They were the worst. Out of all the conferences, they were the worst. They were so bad at one point, they were just relying on influencers to bring in the influencers' audience. It was not great. So yeah, I'm fine not sitting through 18 EA sports games just to see a little glimpse of Dead Space. Anyway, that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for all the likes and support and the comments down below and sharing this with people. Throw this up on Reddit. I'm sure it'll fit somewhere. It means the world to me, seriously. Thank you so much. Also, thank you to everyone over on patreon.com/Jesse Cox. You mean the world to me too. Especially David Andrews, Mr. Unicro, and John B. That's it for this episode of 5 Minute Gaming News. I'll see you tomorrow.